everybody.
Hello, hello.
I know everything's falling on the ground here. We've got all kinds of earbuds in because we are going to be having Lani Dozier here in just a couple minutes, and she went to Korea, and she's going to bring back all the amazing Korean skincare that I need a pen and paper so I can start writing everything down.
You let me know. I go at the end of the end of the month.
I'll tell you what to buy me. Anyway, you guys might not realize this, but the Koreans are so far ahead of us in a lot of things because we have a lot of different hindrances and
FDA
and things we have to hills we have to climb to get products and things here. But there's a lot of really neat stuff out there because they can do a lot more testing and a lot more trying on things. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Very cool. All right. Remember, guys, we still have our mentorship programs. We have 300 plus videos on it. There's different levels, the highest level being our founders level, which we jump on a call after this, another Zoom call, and we do more mentoring.
I know. It's what's really neat about our mentorship program is like this weekend I was at ICEBAN, which is the International Society of Plastic and Aesthetic Nurses. And there's hundreds of nurses there. And what's really cool is some of the founders came up to me, some of our mentees came up and they're like, oh my gosh, we love the program. She said, I love it. I just go back and I keep watching videos and I'm learning so much, and they like to get on the calls and ask questions. Yep. So it's really valuable. And I haven't seen somebody that has been in our program that has come up and said, oh, I didn't have enough education. And basically, if you don't get enough education, you're not pushing the button to learn to watch the videos. Yeah. That's the only way you're not going to learn.
And so if you guys are really already a part of the membership program, mentorship programs, let us know other topics you want us to start posting videos up so we can continue adding to our library. Other than that, what else? Tonight's topic.
Korean beauty. We got Lani Dozier.
We have Lani Dozier.
Hi, Lani.
Hi, Lani.
Are we ready?
Hi, I can hear
you. Hi.
Hi, Lani. We can hear you. Perfect.
No, it's I'm excited to hear what your experience is. I did get to go. Where's it? I went to Korea back in July for Mint. I was speaking for the Mint Global Summit, and so I got to explore a little bit. And then the KOLs that were with me bombarded Olive Young. So if you guys don't know, if you ever go to Korea, Seoul, Olive Young is like the Sephora of Korea. And so they were just piled in there and just grabbing things off the shelf left and right. And I didn't know anything about anything because I'm not a big skincare person. I mean, I know it's there. I talk to patients about it.
You don't do skincare.
But I don't really do skincare, so. But I did buy stuff, and it's actually kind of fun. So hopefully Lani and I will be chit-chatting about it. But I came home with a suitcase of skincare and devices, and I just went around and whatever everybody else is buying, I just dumped in my suitcase.
I hope you bought an empty suitcase.
You will. You totally need to buy an empty suitcase when you're there. So we'll kick it over to you, Lani, because I know you have some PowerPoints and slides that you want to go through. Yeah. But thank you so much, because Korean beauty is all the rage right now. Yeah. I mean, seriously, all the rage. And we're gonna dispel some myths, but also bring out some of the cool new products that you're seeing, that I've seen, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate Lori and Dr. Kwok. I am part of their mentorship program, and it's been very valuable for me, and I've been doing it a couple of years. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Today, I want to talk about Korean beauty, and I want to start with just talking about why is Korean beauty so exciting right now. It seems like Korea has really been able to use very innovative products, unique ingredients, and the other thing that's very interesting about them is that they're really driven by research, but your cost of entry is low. So for people that are interested, you're getting really high quality, moderately researched at a low cost point. So if you don't like it, move on, try something different. It's not like you've spent $100 or $200 for that serum.
Exactly.
So this just says that I'm not going to be telling you to do anything illegal, so please don't do anything illegal. All right, so I want to introduce myself to you. My name is Lani, and I want to tell you why I got into Korean beauty, or even into what we're doing right now. I have my doctor as a nurse practitioner, but I grew up in a very small town, America, and growing up that way, I was frequently judged by my outward appearance and my skin tone. And beauty represented a possible way that I could get a bit of a step up where I felt like I was maybe at a more disadvantaged viewpoint. So it's through makeup and skincare that I could access opportunities that had not previously been available to me. And like they said, I own my own clinic here. I'm getting mentored by the best, Dr. Kwok and Lori, and I went to Korea in 2023 and in 2024. And I have no paid affiliations. We carry Korean skincare brands. And if you are offering free samples, I'm very interested in your research.
That's awesome.
That's right. Okay. And so this next slide, I just want to give you a little bit of a beauty baseline. These are the lenses in which I wear in order to view skincare. Soap was the original skincare. It's been around for millennia. Soap jumped into advertising and became the original beauty influencer around 1930s. This was at the height of the meat packing industry, where they had all this surplus lard and they needed to do something with it. So then in 1933, Procter and Gamble used a soap opera. Lori, you're an expert at that. They used a soap opera to sell Ivory soap, the precursor to Ivory soap. And from there, soap companies then expanded their product lines and their profitability to ameliorate the dryness from soap. So after you use the soap, which stripped the pH from your skin, then they recommended toners and also moisturizers to help create a more balanced environment from your skin. They created their own terminology. They have their own paid influencers. They used fear to sell, for example, organic or natural. And soap became the $150 billion industry that we have today. And then what's interesting is, as today, 90 years ago, marketing and sales tactics drove skincare purchases rather than studies or science. So studies are being used to prove ingredients with little evidence that are not reflective of true use. So small study sizes, small time period, not reproducible, not randomized, not controlled, not peer-reviewed, industry-sponsored evidence. So it's hard to decipher, and it's confusing for me as a clinician. I imagine that it's hard for you for lay people to go and buy their cosmetics. And note that anything that's labeled as a cosmetic cannot treat or cure any skin condition. Now, cosmetics can do things like improve the appearance of, but they can't do anything like prevents acne, or that is something that is very different. So in the USA, regulation of cosmetics is haphazard, meaning, for example, in the EU, there are 1,500 banned ingredients. In Europe. In America, we have 11. But we only have 9 sunscreen ingredients, whereas other countries have a plentitude of ingredients. So it's within this that we're going to be talking about these things that are available to us that has maybe some science to it. And I will try and tell you where I feel like things have moderate science and maybe mild or very little science. Okay, so this was wild to me, and it was we went to a skincare conference that had 45,000 attendees. It was just mind-blowing how big it was. And they have this robot that essentially builds your skincare. It was at the conference. You used a little device and it read and it did a skin analysis. It can also do a hair analysis. And then it would make your product for you right in your presence. It could add anywhere from 20 to 100 different combinations. You got a QR code and label at the end so that if you wanted to order or get more of that, you could simply input the QR code. But what's interesting is what they really want you to do is to come back, get reanalyzed after using that skincare, and then make it just a little bit different. So
Wow.
I think this idea about personalization,
Look at
Can we
Lori.
buy that machine?
I know. We would need that machine.
We need to buy it.
personalization and high tech, it just debuted last month in San Francisco, and I think we're going to be seeing
Ah,
so yeah.
awesome.
Beta glucan is really interesting. It's a fermented ingredient. It's usually from mushrooms or oats or yeast, and it boosts skin immunity and hydration. It has a moderate amount of evidence. It's 20% more hydrating than hyaluronic acid. And instead of drying you like hyaluronic acid can do, it will not cause dehydration if moisturizer is not applied on top. So it's very interesting. Birch sap,
Wow.
or this is, it's also, there's a brand called Roundtree. It provides antioxidants and anti-inflammatory benefits. I think it's interesting because birch sap, sweet birch is salicylic acid, it's aspirin. And so it's this idea of taking this natural ingredient and distilling it essentially and getting those ingredients out to be a natural antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. Centella asiatica is fascinating. It's also known as, I think, Madagascar. There's a tiger grass. It has a couple of names. Originally, the tigers would fight, I guess, and then they would go roll around in Centella asiatica, and this grass would help heal them. So it's a popular botanical extract with anti-inflammatory and healing benefits. It's frequently found to soothe and repair in skincare products. It calms irritated skin, reduces redness, and promotes wound healing. Okay, and so if you'll notice, I've been trying to go through the ABCs. So this is devices. And before I introduce this, they have at-home devices that are fascinating and now almost illegal. So I'm going to show you one that is a body device that does both suction. It does an RF energy, and it also sends an electrical pulse for toning. And then the other device is actually a combination of ultherapy or like that with ultrasound waves plus radio frequency waves. We were so impressed with it when we had our demonstration. We all just thought this is way too aggressive for people to use at home. And yet they had all these at-home devices. So we were able to buy some. And then we just got a letter here in September that said that it was mislabeled as a class 1 device here in the USA, and that as soon as we get through our product, they will no longer be able to sell it in the US that way. It will be labeled as a class 2, meaning only professionals can use it.
Oh.
So what's interesting about this, though, is that this is something that you can use at home. And this ultrasound device, it has a head, and you can just use it and dot it. They actually have two studies on them that I can send out that showed, for example, an increase of elastin and collagen production. And what we're finding now is that people are more, they are wanting to grow elastin now because it seems like we have collagen somewhat figured out. So efficient treatments. We visited a company called Places. Places has the most popular radio frequency device in Korea, and they have an extremely popular ultrasound device called MPT Ultraformer that is extremely popular internationally as well as in Korea. What I wanted to showcase here on this picture is that this is all of their devices, and that they could use up to every single one of them at a single visit. So whereas in the US, where we get one thing done, a solo visit with a solo item, in Korea, treatments are grouped together, and you'll get usually 4 to 7 things at a single visit. And then we talked a little bit about fermentation skincare. The idea about fermentation is that it's breaking down complex molecules, making it easier for the skin to absorb, and increases the concentration of those beneficial compounds. And then lastly, we have, these are very typically Korean ingredients. Galactomyces is another ferment. Green tea and ginseng, these are all used in many of these products. Ginseng has some mild evidence. Green tea has moderate evidence. Galactomyces is very interesting, and I think it has promise. Okay. Okay. All right. So then we also got professional treatments while we were there. So we're going to talk a little bit about high intensity focused ultrasound, which here we're using that product Ultraformer MPT. And then we can talk more about, because Lori and Dr. Kwok are experts at Target Pool. I have to tell you, there is a ton of evidence about HIFU. There is 0 published evidence on ice needling, but I bought it because they recommended it, and we are having some good results with Target Cool and some of the products that you can put through it for hair growth, and that's what we're primarily using it for. What about you, Lori or Dr. Kwok, are using it for other things?
We're using it for skin, like after CO2 treatments, after microneedling, after RF microneedling, and it just helps it absorb really well.
De-inflames quicker because you're putting essentially ice into the tissue. So
and we'll use boosters and exosomes both.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here, this is you can see that they already. Oh yeah. Anyhow, I couldn't get this to last very long. So this is high intensity focused ultrasound, as well as radio frequency is the next thing that they will do. And this is Target Cool. I think you may have already seen it. Target Cool is essentially a way that you freeze the serum and then drive it into only the stratum corneum so that it stays only in that topical epidermis. It's not even epidermis, it's like the stratum corneum where it's the dead layers of skin. Is that correct, Lori?
Correct.
It can get a little bit deeper.
Yeah, it'll help just by doing the little ice needling into that stratum corneum, which we're not allowed to go any deeper. Right. We can't, but it's going to really increase the absorption tremendously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting about we'll be talking about some exciting products that if you can deliver it into that stratum corneum, it can get bypass the barrier that's keeping it from getting deeper into the dermis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this mask is fascinating. Ooh. This is you can see it peels off. So it is a gel. It goes on as a gel, and then it dries down into a mask, and then you peel it off. It's for long-lasting UV protection. It is good for 8 hours. It can be used for people that are athletes, golfers, swimmers, people that don't like reapplication.
What?
I know.
You're blowing Lori's mind right now.
This is brilliant.
Yeah, it's called Under Skin, and it's a sun gel patch, and it is extremely fascinating. That is one thing. If you go to Korea, Dr. Kwok, you have to get some because it is fascinating.
Bring some back for me.
Text me, Lani.
Bring some back.
So
like water, people can do anything. It absorbs into the skin, so they can go swimming, they can exercise, and they don't have any sunblock getting into their eyes.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It's very fascinating. So
why do we think of this?
Kombucha is another. It's a fermented tea that has probiotics and antioxidants, and I think we're all seeing this great increase about probiotics in the skin. So I think we're still learning what it can do, but it's the idea is that it improves skin health and boosts radiance. And the other part is that the microbiome, that you're changing your microbiome into something that is more beneficial for you and drowning out things that could be possibly bad for you. So if you think about the bacterial interaction with acne, for example, it's interesting to think about changing up your microbiome. And then another well-known product is lactobacillus, which is another way that you can get another type of a probiotic in your skin. It's supposed to strengthen the skin barrier and also reduce inflammation.
Nice.
Okay, this is, we actually got some of these. This is our picture. This magnesium patches are interesting. That's this idea that you're using magnesium to actually target acne breakouts. So, and this is considered biotech because the tiny needles are actually going into the stratum corneum. And then by doing that, it is delivering magnesium. It combines with hydrogen, and it's supposed to help decrease the amount of sebum production and also reduce inflammation. And many times it has other things like mugwort. Mugwort is very popular among many of our patients who want that antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effect. Noni fruit's fascinating. It's actually in Hawaii. Many people says it smells like death, but it doesn't smell good. But there are people that drink the juice specifically because it's so rich in antioxidants and vitamins. And so what they found is if they extract from the fruit, you can protect and nourish the skin. It also helps improve skin tone and reduces the appearance of fine lines. The thing that's interesting is that noni fruit ingested is known to be beneficial. So I think this whole idea that you're stepping into what can noni do for the skin, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Onion is a big thing now, especially there's a company called Isentry who is now made a whole line using onions. And it's an emerging ingredient for its potential to improve both hair growth, so hair, scalp health. And then it's also used to help for acne as an antifungal and antibacterial. So it's interesting because many of these Korean companies, they can totally pivot. And it is not unusual for a single line to release up to 100 new products, as well as taking away and discontinuing a whole group of products. So we start to carry things and then we have to tell people we can't get it anymore. I don't know why, but they've moved on to something else. So I think it'll be interesting to find out if 2025 has onion, but this has been the 2024 push for Isentry.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so this is PDRNs. And the interesting thing about PDRNs, and there's another subset of that, which is PNs. PDRNs are, they essentially are salmon or trout DNA that has been cleaned. So that's why there's a little broom there. They clean and extract out and get that DNA portion. And then it's applied topically on your face after microneedling. And the idea is that this specific serum helps regeneration and improve skin texture. And it is not legal to inject in the US. It is legal in all Asian countries and in Australia. They're using it for things like a skin booster, also particularly around the eyes for elastin production without volumization. So it's a very fascinating ingredient. You're going to be seeing way more of it in skincare products. And
when I was in Vienna a couple months ago with a company called Chroma, who makes a lot of injectables, they showed me a syringe. They had a non-cross-linked hyaluronic acid with PN in it. I'm like, can I just put those in my suitcase, please?
That's where I'm actually going at the end of the month. So I'm actually going to do the Rejuran Global Conference. So I get to catch salmon.
Yay. Well, here's a picture of a person that we did post microneedling, one treatment, PDRNs. And so you can see how
Lori's like, why am I not done this yet?
I need this.
Yeah. Well, this is fascinating. You're supposed to do a series of 3. She had one treatment. She saw a definite difference. And what I want you to see is that it's been a change in texture. but it is not a change in volumization, which is exactly
Yep.
what we want in these areas. Nobody wants a heavy neck. So
Yep. No,
yeah.
and honestly, this is what we're seeing at some of my clinics is um necks, especially there we're noticing more on the Caucasian population is the necks actually with the microneedling turn out beautiful, even with one treatment, 1 to 2 treatments, and it's beautiful. For the face, unfortunately, not as significant, and who knows what the difference really is maybe there's a lot. I mean, there's a difference in the quality of the skin on the aspect of it, but definitely that is something some of my practitioners have told me at the other clinics is necks, especially in the Caucasian lighter skin population, turn out beautiful,
Yeah.
even with one. So we definitely noticed that.
Well, I have to tell you, I mean, we were shocked. So like,
Yes,
yeah,
no, it's
there you
consistent.
go.
Like, and honestly, I just got it, not micro needle. I did the Korean way on my neck
Yeah.
and my face and eyes, and I love it. I did it on my eyes twice about 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And I really noticed the significant difference. I probably still need to get an eyelid surgery, but definitely noticed a significant change in the quality of the skin. And so until I can have time to go get the little eyelid surgery, I probably continue the little treatments around my eyes.
Well, and we had staff that definitely had injected Regerin in Korea. It's
Mhm.
legal there. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's legal in 25 plus countries. And, sitting down with the company the last time I went, people don't realize it, and they talk out of their here in the US. But I mean, it's been around for 10, 12 years. PDRN came from the wound care industry over in
Mhm.
Europe, actually, first. And then on top of that, I think they've already sold over 50 million syringes in Asia
Yeah.
just
Eh,
in the last 10 years. So, these are the things that people need to expand your mind. Don't necessarily listen to all of the KOLs here in the US. A lot of them have their own soapboxes and rants and raves. Go out and explore what the world has to offer. There is a ton of amazing stuff that's outside of the country. Um, Korea is one of them. Israel is another one that makes some really, really good. They're at the forefront of technology when it comes to lasers and
right.
energy-based devices and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
just
Perfect.
FYI.
Yeah. So this is a radio frequency where I actually I was trying to get, we'll see. They are legal in the US. They're FDA cleared, and we'll see if maybe that's something that it ends up that Lori and Dr. Kwok and I get to work on something. So I'm still working with that
Sure.
company in place to see
I,
that.
I personally, I love RF. There's a
Yeah.
technique and a way it should be done.
Yeah.
But even like thermage here in the US,
Yeah.
it hurts if it's done the way the company teaches you.
Yeah.
The way I do it, it does not hurt, and my patients see immediate tightening that really, really, I think is more significant than what I can get with like a HIFU type of a treatment. Now, HIFU is dependent because we do a lot of it in the Asian community. HIFU is better for Asian because we have a lot more thicker skin and we have that fattiness that a lot of Asians are trying to slim their face down.
Yeah.
So I think HIFU does a lot better in the Asian community in that aspect of it. But I think radio frequency definitely has its place.
Yeah.
Hugely.
The thing was, when we did radio frequency and ultrasound there was no numbing. It
No.
was beautiful, and we had immediate effect from the RF. So it was impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and so then also snail mucin and soy. It's interesting. So snail originally, they came up with this mucin because they had snail farmers in Chile. These Chilean snail farmers had, I guess, beautiful hands because they were handling the snails. And so from that, they actually decided that maybe there was some type of antioxidant or peptides. And so what they found was that there are peptides that seem to hydrate and promote skin repair. And so what they actually did then is they used it on radiation burn victims, like post-cancer treatment and had really good results. So snail mucin is interesting in its abilities to heal. This is a product that we will no longer be able to carry because the Fish and Wildlife wants us to take out a permit. So we have all kinds of weird regulations in the US. So when you're there, Dr. Kwok, get a little bit of snail mucin. So
they can be escargot, but they can't.
I will bring an empty suitcase.
Like they could be escargot, but we can't use their mucin. Yeah, I get it. It makes total sense.
Yeah. And then also there's a company called Mixsoon, and they specifically do fermented soy extract. And it's very interesting. It's considered the vegan alternative to the snail mucin. So know that and again, all of these companies actually go through a bunch of European testing and join PETA, and they say that their snails are, I don't know, gently stroked or something. But know that the soybean is completely vegan friendly, and it's I've used it. The serum feels a lot like the snail mucin. So, and then tea tree water is interesting. I think we've all known that tea tree oil is an essential oil and people have used it in the past. It's also extremely caustic in that form. And so what they found is they can do this tea tree water, and that has antibacterial, anti-inflammatory properties. It's great for acne-prone skin, and it reduces breakouts and controls excess oil.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so the UV filters, like you'll just have to, I'm illegal. I'm going to get tased just talking about them. What they have in Korea is just beyond what we have here. For example, this Skinnick on the right here on this right, it has 6 filters that we have no access to in the US. My favorite filter with it is called Uvasorb Heb. It's in Skinnick. It loses 10% of its ability to block UVA and UVB at 25 hours. So when we're talking about you have to reapply every 2 hours because sunscreen is really 80 minutes or 90 minutes, this idea that you have sunscreen that you apply during the day, and hopefully you remember to put it on at lunch. But that is true use. That is true in vivo use, how we use it in the US. And so we need better filters, and they have them. So
yeah, but if it lasted a long time, you wouldn't sell as much.
It's like your toxins.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm understanding now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Koreans will put it all over.
That's right. That's right. Oh, I think let me see if I can go back one. Oh,
Oops.
I'm sorry. I messed up here. Okay. Technical difficulties. We'll get there. Okay. Here we go.
We all have that. It's okay.
Okay, and then this a big thing were these V-line facials. So we do this in the US. So this is people come in with square looking faces, especially in Korea. They want this V-line. They even take pictures like this, like it's all about the V-line. And you can do it with the things. And again, remember, they're doing this holistic treatment. So they're using RF, they're using ultrasound, they're using filler, they're using PDRNs, all in the same visit and some talks. So this is just an example of the idea. They call it V-line facial because it's not surgical, because there are certainly very painful things that they can do to create a V-line that's surgical, but I don't do surgery. So,
Wow.
Okay. So this is interesting. Let's see if I can put these apart. Okay, so the whitening products, there is a huge focus in Korea on whitening and brightening, and they do this without using hydroquinone. And so tranexamic acid, niacinamide, glutathione, alpha-arbutin, kojic acid, retinoids, and vitamin C's, And they do it in all these really unique herbal blends. And many of them are actually inside their sunscreen. So their sunscreen is seen not only as a protective, but also as a corrective. And then this other, what I wanted to show you is
Why not?
exosomes. Exosomes are tiny vesicles derived from stem cells delivering active molecules. So you can see here, they're, okay, I don't know, every time I get into here, it's bad, but we're gonna try it. So the vesicles are coming out, it's being exocytosed into the extracellular space, and it has little tiny packets of messages that has RNA and DNA, and it's used for skin rejuvenation and repair. Exosomes potentially can reduce wrinkles, improve skin elasticity, and address other signs of aging, potentially. Exosomes. So the other thing that I did just for fun, because this is all about kind of tech and what it can do, I had AI create a poem for you on exosomes. Here you go. It's first
That's
debut.
awesome.
Exosomes leave their cellular homes with stories to tell going cell to cell. Tiny thought bubbles are DNA shuttles. Proteins and RNA, they are key. Collagen blooms and wrinkles set free. Wounds heal faster, shadows depart. Skin and hair rejuvenation, a work of art.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's really good.
So somebody put that information into AI. That's interesting.
it's all living
That's
there.
all in. It's a lot. That's crazy.
AI is awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. I think I just wanted to do a little bit of recap, which is why is K-beauty so popular? I think there's the personalization of K-beauty, the DIY part where you can do things at home that is extremely effective. It's cutting edge. It focuses on fast research and innovative ingredients and treatments. The quality, the expectations from Koreans is extremely high, and products that don't work are quickly discontinued. And then cost. You have personalization, innovation, quality ingredients for a fraction of the price in the US. Skincare is hard. Marketing hype may not meet expectation or efficacy. So it's easier to move on and try something new because you haven't invested a lot into it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing that I wanted to say was that I have so many references. So first, I would say follow the Aesthetic Immersion for more education, because I cannot speak enough about how much I've learned from them. Secondly, you can follow us at SkinwiseRx on Instagram for more K-beauty. Lastly, you can DM us on Instagram with your email address, and I can send you the references, or you can ask by email, and here's my email address.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Amazing.
So, Lani, we had a question from one of our viewers about where do you get your exosomes? Like, what type do you use, or where do you see that we're different over there in Korea, maybe?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we did buy some exosomes in Korea. We only do exosomes topically for us. That's what we're comfortable with. And we are trying Plan Docs, which is they went through all the work of getting US approval, and you know about them as well, Dr. Kwok.
Limelight.
Correct, Limelight.
You just borrowed some from me today.
We've tried the Nev, which I know that that's something that you guys had a close relationship with as well. But there are many brands of exosomes out there. And I think what's hard for me is that the more you listen about exosomes, the more confusing it gets, because should it be mesenchymal? Should it be adipose derived? Can it be, freeze dried? Should it not be freeze dried? Should it come on dry ice? So I find it very confusing. I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
You know, there's one that I have been using the most of, and that's Elevai, Elevai. And that comes actually in a media that is the same pH as the body. So it doesn't have to be, it's not freeze dried, it's not lyophilized. You don't have to keep it in the refrigerator, you just keep it on your shelf, but it's because it's in a pH the same as the body. And we have loved those for a long time. I can't put them in my Target Cool because the viscosity is different, but it's nice to put topically on the skin. And I've liked that quite a bit, because I know that Like if they're lyophilized or freeze dried, you don't know how many are destroyed in the process. And then I'm afraid that if I put them into something that's going to freeze them, it might injure them more, might destroy some of those exosomes more. So um, I like that.
I mean, it is as you get more into it, freeze drying it does work.
Mhm.
They do their viability, stability testing. The liposomals ones, they are starting to do a lot more. They do a lot of stability, viabilities. They'll do it tested at a couple days, 2 weeks, 3 months. So there's a lot of that you can get. I mean, the world of exosomes still is a very confusing marketplace because it comes down to what in the exosomes really is active, and every company, because there is no necessity of regulation in the sense of specifics with regards to exosomes, it makes it very difficult to compare apples to
Mhm.
apples to apples. And then you have the fact that when it's different, stem cell origins, whether it's platelets or umbilical, Wharton's jelly, placental,
Plant derived now.
amniotic. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's so many. There's even ones that are plant based, like rosebud.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different types of exosomes on the marketplace. And it just comes down to, as we learn more science, as we learn more understanding, what is it really that's in there? It's the different growth factors, the different things, and it builds upon what we've already known with regards to like PRPs, PRFs that everyone talks about. These are taking it really kind of to the next level because you're adding the interleukins, the cytokines, all of those other components that make a more completer picture in that sense. And so as we do more research, I'm still learning, and I've been playing around with stem cells and exosome probably for the last 8, 9 years,
Yeah.
10 years already. I still don't even understand everything, but there are certain ones that we study that you said the peaks, and there's certain things and markers and that you should be looking for, CD markers and stuff like that you should be looking for, spikes on that give you the sense that that is going to be much more of a pure aspect of it, because a lot of them will sell you, oh, this is 5 billion, 10 billion, whatever billion it is. And they could get, exosomes, technically, the ones that are considered active are going to be between 50 to 150 microns. Some will push it to 300 microns. And then other ones will count anything from, 100, from 50 microns all the way to 1,000 microns in size. We all know that anything above probably 300-400 becomes waste product, but some companies will still count that as
Mhm.
exosomes. And so this is where the exosome world is very, very confusing out there. There is a lot of great literature with regards to it. The hard part is the FDA is going to be very hard pressed to approve it, just because um, they like to see that one thing does this one pathway or a few pathways and produces this result. The problem with exosomes or stem cells is that it goes in and it affects everything, that cause paracrine effect and secretory different effects at the local level, but actually even further beyond that. And that is their issue, is how do you characterize what it is? And so there's a lot of talk later on that we're going to be able to find different exosomes with CD markers and pull it on a shelf. Oh, this one will help pancreatic disease, this one will help this disease, this will help with this. We're still, as we gather more data, there will be a lot more fast forward information with regards to that. And that is probably the nearer future. But let's see. Do they inject DNA? Everyone wants to talk about DNA
Right.
injection.
So will the FDA approve it? Probably not. They can make money off of it.
I actually work with Regeneron, and that's actually where I'm going at the end of the month.
Yeah.
I'm going to their Global Expert Summit to learn more about what the world is doing with regards to it. Regeneron is available here in the US, but it is not approved by FDA for any injectable purpose. That is still considered illegal. You can topically use it, and you can follow it with microneedling, as all the other skin boosters are out there. Regeneron honestly has its own skin booster lines. They're very similar to the Clardiers that Mint has. They have a version of a Dia. They have their version of of their whitening aspect of it. They actually even have cosmetic lines. If you guys didn't know that, you can buy. They have 4 different cosmetic lines. They just dropped their medical line here, and it's based off the PDRN. So if you haven't gotten, if you want to get it here in the US, you can actually reach out to the Robertson and ask them about their cosmetic lines here. But I actually bought it in Korea and I actually kind of like it. I've been using a little bit of it. Have you played around with the other one, the Sika? What's very popular, the Riedel?
Yeah,
it feels like
Riedel VT. Yeah,
it feels like
for over the counter, there's exosomes with spicules, and that's the VT or Riedel VT, and then there's also Neogen has some, and then Medicube is doing. They have actual PDRNs, and this is they just launched it in the fall. So, and those are all things that you can buy. I think. Right. Yeah. Anyone can buy it. And then I think for the people that are asking, if you own your own clinic, you can go through those companies that we talked about, Plan Docs for Limelight, Benev, Exosomes, Regerin for PDRN topical. I'm using the picture that I have of the neck that was Clardier Dia, which is a mixture of PDRN, exosome, and some HA.
Yeah. So. Dia is nice. That's the one thing that we have that's PDRN next to the Regerin. So those are the 2 things that are available in the US that have the PDRN.
I mean, there are going to be some, I know there's some questions about injecting it and stuff like that. There are going to be practitioners here in the US that have been injecting it. If you go to Koreatown, there's tons of them that are injecting it. All the Asian community is already injecting it. That was the wave of actually about 4 or 5 years ago.
Well,
but from the U.S. standpoint, if you're following the legal aspect of it, it's
we kind of need to.
But it happens.
We just had an arrest of a provider in California who is going to inject PDRN and polynucleotide. So they were investigated and they got hooked and booked. So it's something we have to take seriously. If by any chance they walk in our door, and I think we just need to make sure we are doing the right thing. So we want to protect our licenses. Even though we think it's good stuff.
At the end of the day, though, that's the disagreement is there are tons of studies. There's been there for 10 years, approved in 25 different countries, sold 50 million with 0 side effects, adverse events, no vascular occlusions, no blindness cases. Tell me where the studies need to come from to show that. It's just a money-hungry FDA. I'm going to sit on my high horse. It's about money-hungry FDA. I mean, there are ways to get around it. If you can reach out to your lawyers to, because there are right to tries on the aspect of it for you guys that really want to push that border. This is an open, honest conversation on the aspect of it. By FDA, I am working with Rajaran to try to see how fast we can get through FDA process, but it's going to be probably a 3 to 5 year process to get through FDA. And that's the sad part of it, you guys. Realize how much money, Dysport from a glabella, just talking to them, glabella to get a frontalis one. They had approval here in the glabella to get a frontalis moved to an off-label area. It's going to cost them $30 to $35 million just to get FDA approval. Think how ridiculous the process is to get FDA approval here in the US. And this is the reason why we're falling behind in everything that we do.
Yeah. That was so I took a whole long class on sunscreens and FDA because I wanted to see if we could bring anything over, and it's a $50,000 just to play, just to introduce. Then you have to have 2 years of in the human and animal testing, both of them. You have to have both of them before they'll even look at your results. And then it's 18 to 24 months before they'll even give approval if they do.
Yeah. And this is the reason why, yes, there are going to be things that you definitely need to protect your licenses. But this is why checking with your lawyers, figure out, are there ways to get around it? There actually are. But that's for you to figure out. Nobody from here is going to teach you about that. You talk to your lawyers with regards to that aspect of it. But, keeping up with and understanding what is considered FDA approval, even cosmetically, FDA is different than an injectable, a medication, a medical device. So keep that in mind in different pockets when you're talking about the law on that aspect of it. But there is there unfortunately are going to be people that will inject it here in the U.S. and hopefully they keep it under wraps so that we can push through properly through the FDA and not have a lot of hiccups. So you guys that do end up injecting your nice little friends and families, try not to post it online so that we don't get hiccups from the FDA to expedite this process quicker into that aspect of it. So yes. What else can we talk about?
We were talking about exosomes. Somebody asked something about Wharton's jelly. Yeah, there are exosomes that do come from Wharton's jelly, which is
huge, big area.
Which is the Limelight does, the Elevai does, Benev doesn't. But you can look at that and when we're looking at umbilical cord stem cells, those are the newest, strongest ones you can get.
Yeah.
So that's something to look into too. There are little differences in them. So yeah.
I mean,
for the people that are asking about the differences between PDRN and PN, because somebody is saying like PDRN is old news. The truth is that it's being used for 20 years for wound healing, and PDRNs are just now coming to the US. So because of all we're talking about, all this past history, it's going to take us a while to get the next thing. And so PNs, I think, are interesting. But I think we're getting PDRNs next, I assume. So because you can already buy serums with it.
Yeah.
I think PDRNs is because it's a shorter chain are going to be more introduced into more topical aspects of it. PNs, because they are larger, bigger things, probably effectiveness wise, they're not going to penetrate topically as well. And so this is the reason why, like some companies like Regeneron, the PNs are actually going to be injected into that dermal or the epidermal
or they're
layer,
mixed with injectables.
Or they're mixed with injectables in that aspect of it. Yeah. So those are going to probably need to be placed deeper because they are larger versions of, you could say, PDRN.
And they're both from salmon. One's from the testes, one's from the sperm.
The testes.
Which one? PN?
I think PN and the
PN is from the testes or the
testes.
Yeah.
And like, who would have thought of like, hey, there's a fish. Let's see if
I know.
Who knows?
There's a rose. Let's take its exosomes.
And I see what you said, Jerry, about exosomes and it having potential cancer or tumor markers. I think the thing to know about, I think the hope is, I think that's a controversy why some people preferentially do something like the plant-based exosomes, or they try to use more vegan friendly, maybe that you're not going to be turning on those type of markers and you're able to synthetically create exactly what you're hoping to cell signal.
And that's all honestly, that's all theoretical. I don't think there's anything proven. At the end of the day, who's to say that your plant exosome couldn't turn on those signaling as well? Right? I mean, these are all theoretical aspects of it. And honestly, if your body has the right mechanism of balance and can get that, you can shut things off as well. They shut things off as well as promote things. And so you have to take everything that you hear with a balance of it. And, when you're talking about exosomes and you really want to do it, suggestions, get into the world of regenerative medicine and really, really delve into it. Ask the true gurus of exosomes and stem cells about that. The people who are unfortunately more, they like to be on their soapboxes probably are not the ones that actually are doing the proper research behind all of this type of stuff. It's just
what I can say is that exosomes have been around a really long time.
Yes,
long enough for FDA to get involved to say there are things happening, but what they were complaining about was actually bad collection measures. Like these things that were causing contamination, E. coli, salmonella. This is what got them into trouble and why there's been such a huge pullback. I think that if we had I'm sure that there would be reported in the literature about exosomes causing a tumor. Factor.
Yeah, I think, I think it's the fact that they can't control what your outcomes are going to be. You can't, as I said, the research has to show that this does this, and that has yet to be delineated or unfolded. Why stem cells really are, we're far away-ish from the stem cells and the exosome from getting approved, because you can't. The PRPs, the PRFs on that aspect of it, it's a tiny amount of growth factors that you're really, really utilizing. And so that's why it's a tiny little bit more focused. I mean, you were even talking about PDGF, the platelet-derived growth factors that they have, that you can just inject that in that aspect of it. So, there's the industry is huge when it comes to this stuff, and it'll be a shakedown in figuring out what really comes out. I love watching the Asian community, because it's a trend. It goes in and it goes out, and then the things that actually stay, like the threads, the PDRNs, these are the things that really you go and say, you know what, let's go and learn more about that, because it's gone through its trend in Asia and it's still there. May not be at its peak because everyone's always on to the next new thing, but it's there on a very consistent basis, because it has its basis for what is it does an effective treatment for what it is supposed to do. Yeah, Casey, A plus B needs to equal C. Exactly. That's exactly why the FDA, and the sad part is the FDA is controlled by Big Pharma. FDA has its own money stream
from Big Pharma.
And so
A plus B equals C.
I mean, honestly, if you guys really want to really delve into FDA, 20 years ago, FDA was funded by the federal government. 100% of its budget now is self-funded currently, because they charge all the drug companies I call it the mafia fee, protection fee, to watch over the adverse events and blah blah blah. It's all excuse to,
and they get a percentage of sales of some things.
And the sad part is, Big Pharma knows that they can get their drug approved because they have enough clout and enough, political push to get it in there. They'll make tons and tons of money, and they'll set aside a budget to know that they're going to get lawsuits, and they just pay off the lawsuit. You make $20 billion, you set aside $5 billion for the lawsuits that are going to come out when you pull the drug. Oh, well, that is the sad part.
Or you're not allowed to be sued.
I wanted to quickly answer. There were 4 questions that came through. The microneedling on the neck for improvement, was it with or without radiofrequency? Without radiofrequency, it was only microneedling. Can you use a Korean device if not yet available in the US? I don't know if I don't know what that question is.
If it's a medical device, probably not.
Yeah.
If it's a home use device, yes.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the Riedel shot products?
They're fun.
Yeah. I think if you have sensitive skin or rosacea, you should avoid it, because the spicules themselves are very irritating, or can be. And then, do we need an RX to order exosomes? If not, how do we order? So I think I answered on that as far as ways that you can get it over the counter cosmetically, and then also if you're a clinic.
Yeah. Cool.
Excellent.
All right. We have to wrap it up, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lani. That was such an amazing, amazing talk. I'm excited to go back. So we'll have to talk before I go back to Korea, so that I know what to
I'll give you an empty suitcase.
I'm going to bring a suitcase just so that I can bring it back for us. So no problems on that aspect of it. And so we will be back next November 4th. And we're going to be talking about mastering product longevity. We're going to be talking about longevity of products, how to talk about it, what we need to talk about when it comes to that type of stuff with our patients.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see you guys November 4th, same time, 5 p.m.
Okay. And this will be on YouTube in a week or so after it's edited.
Perfect.
So you guys can catch it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Lani.
Thank you, Lani. Love you, girl. Thank you.